All right, boys and girls, Ken Smith Fishing. It is Saturday afternoon, and yes, I'm using my YOLO Tech like a selfie stick. So we're here at Humphreys, Mississippi College boys. Wait, Mississippi College boys.
Yeah.
They drove all the way over here from Mississippi to fish this tournament. So I don't have a lot of good fishing footage because mostly what I did was ride around and shoot footage of guys today. And I'm going to post a lot of that up behind this just so those guys get a little bit of airtime. Unfortunately, it's really hard to roll up on guys and actually catch them catching fish. But what I will also do is I'll give you the weight of these guys so you can see kind of what they're doing as they're fishing. My take on the day is a lot of guys gambled on shallow fish, and that's a dangerous thing to do on Rayburn. A lot of guys were gambling on pads, you know, frogfish. I know one check came out of the frogfish that I know of out of 10 checks. But I think a lot of those guys, from what I heard, a lot of fish. By the way, welcome to Love Bug Central. A lot of fish blowing up and not getting those frogs, and there's a lot of pressure on the backs of those creeks where those pads and that little bit of grass are scattered around. So what I did see, I know for sure one of the top 4 teams was out deep because I saw them fishing. I didn't get footage of it, but I know they're out offshore. And then one of the, I'm gonna mess this up, but I think it's Shriver teams. They had an 8-pounder today, and we've got some footage of them that we'll put in here and show you their weight. They were certainly offshore throwing big worms and Carolina rigs and football jigs. So I did get up shallow. Actually, one of the coaches and I got out and fished a little bit. So actually, let me stick that footage in right here.
He's not very big, but he is a fish.
Kentucky.
Better.
So that's just out on one of my old deep holes, and you see we spent about 15 minutes out there and caught probably 10 fish. And then we went to another one of my deep holes and spent about 20 minutes and caught probably 20 fish. Just tons of fish out there really deep, but no size. We would have weighed, you know, 10, 11, 12 pounds. And then you saw me come down here late in the day and just pick up my little shaky head with my little 6-inch shaky head and catch a bunch of fish just in about 20 minutes. Got a buddy with him. He's not by himself. This knot's been tied for about 2 months. I'm gonna try to rope this fish, but this may go poorly. There we go. Nice little chunk. 2-pounder. boats in 4 feet of water. This fish is so shallow up there, it's unreal. God, he absolutely choked it. I'm kind of just goofing off right here, right before the weigh-in, and this water down here around the dam's pretty clear, so I just got out my little shaky head rod with a 3/16 ounce sinker. I put a little piece of fluorocarbon, I tie it to 30-pound Seaguar. That's that little shaky head special, come to find out, with a mock reel. And that my leader is 8-pound Seaguar Invisex. And it's amazing when you get down here, just on all these little points around the dam, how many fish you can catch. That fish was in, the boat's in 8 feet of water, so I'm gonna say that fish was in 5 or 6 feet of water. And I had just lost one that I think was maybe 3.5, 4 pounds. I pulled it by the boat and it pulled off. But I got a really good look at it. So that's my 3rd bite up here. I pulled up here, broke the Carolina rig off on a fish, but it was in the rocks. And I hadn't been here 10 minutes and I've had 3 bites. So, you know, it's just a little something when you're, well, and by the way, so the year I won Angler of the Year in the BFL, the Richland Chambers tournament was super brutal, and about 1 o'clock I didn't have a fish, and I pulled out my shaky head and went out and got on a main lake point with a giggy head, and I caught a little limit, and that was what won Angler of the Year for me, truthfully. But it's just a way to get a bite, and if you're taking kids out and learn how to fish, it's a great way for them to get lots of bites, and it is a lot of fun to catch fish on a spinning rod, no doubt about it. And if you notice there on that little Divine shaky head worm, I don't want quite that big a worm right now, so I'm just biting off about 1.5 inches off the top of it. That gives me plenty of bait down there. I kind of want a smaller profile bait out there right now. About 20 minutes, but it's just tough. If my fishing report would be, I would spend my time. Now again, you can catch a lot of fish shallow, as you saw me do this afternoon on that shaky head, but those aren't really competitive fish. If you're just coming to fun fish, hello love bugs, you know, you can do that. Stay down here around Umphreys on these main lake points and throw your shaky head, and you're gonna catch a ton of fish. Real shallow. I mean, those fish were, you know, 4 to 8 feet deep. But to be competitive right now, you got to get offshore. I think the weight was probably down a little bit, although 23 won, I think 18 was second. I think some of that was just due to the wind. It was hard to fish offshore, very, very hard to fish brush pile fish. So I think if the wind hadn't blown like it did, you'd have seen a lot better weights. But nonetheless, the lake showed out even in the conditions that we had with the 23-pound stringer and 3 or 4 more in the 18-pound class. So pretty good day overall for most guys, but a lot of guys struggled. I don't think many guys caught shallow fish. So I would stay, as I started to say a minute ago, probably 14 to 22 feet deep. We did catch some fish out in 30+ feet of water today, but they're all small fish. We really only caught probably, I think the biggest fish was 2.5 pounds. So the lake continues to drop. The lake is cooling off a little bit. There is a little bit of scattered hydrilla, especially outside the hay grass, like in Norris and Coleman and some of those areas. But overall, there's not a ton of grass. There's a little bit in Beach as well. That's the grass I know about right now. So I would stay probably deep, because the water's just not cool enough for those big fish to really be up in that shallow stuff. There are some big fish in the pads, but they get so much pressure because there's so little of it, and so many guys want to catch them that way. If I were coming down here trying to catch a stringer, I'd stay out deep. So we'll be back down next weekend. I got a buddy coming in from the Northeast, and we're going to shoot some footage, and hopefully the fishing's going to continue to get better, and we'll get 2 or 3 full days of fishing next weekend, and hopefully we'll get some fish catches on camera for you guys. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll hope to see you guys down here next weekend. And if you don't subscribe, please do it. If you do subscribe, thanks for that. And thanks for all the people that walked up. I had a lot of nice comments to me today at the weigh-in. So let's show you guys some fishing footage here from the tournament, and then I'm going to show you guys the weigh-in right at the end of this. So here we go.
Yeah, the 4 was kind of a shock because we hadn't caught a fish over fished over like 2 pounds in all the practice, so.
I hear Mr. Eagle. Tell me your names.
Kyle Magellan, Dawson.
What school?
Back in school now.
Okay. There's a lake on that campus, isn't there?
Yes, sir. Chaplin's Lake.
Okay.
It's got pretty good fish.
It does?
Yes, sir.
So what do y'all got so far?
We don't have two. I just called in. We went up shallow this morning and we didn't get a bite up shallow. And we got out here and we've had a lot of bites this morning. We can't connect. Can't put them in the boat.
What size do your two?
No. This little keeper. Two fish grouped up here and there.
Kentucky. Yeah, he did. Kentucky. Y'all teammates this morning, they had 3. What do y'all got?
We got 4 right now.
You got any size?
We got,
You still getting bit?
yes, sir.
Put something on camera for me. Catch a 9-pounder.
I'm trying. I'm about to catch that kicker right now. Yeah, those guys pulled up, we were worried. When those guys pulled in front of us, we were like, man, we just got here, but we pulled 2 off right before y'all got here.
Off piles or off the bottom?
I got mine off the, look at the rock over there. He got his off the brush, I think.
Y'all got a limit now?
Almost. We got 4. We got one in there that's like a 6+, and then we got 2 3s probably. We need to get rid of one of them. We got to get rid of one squeak and possibly one of the 3s because he's bleeding pretty bad. Hopefully he'll stay alive.
Yeah.
Are they keepers? Oh my goodness. You talk to Tristan and them?
Yeah, we don't, they are way up.
They're up above the back side of the
I
canyon.
didn't find out if they're doing any good. Not good.
Take the lead. We are good. They're 707. 707. That will be fast. That will be good for cash and dollar bills. Got a pretty good start on them so far. Hey boys, half your bag for the championship. $22.99. You're good to go. $22.99. Nothing but business for y'all. Y'all were a minute late. That's going to cost you £1, but hey, an 8-pounder makes up for £1. It was rough on the north end of the lake way. Yeah, you're lucky you were just 1 minute late. 17:37 makes them 16:37. That's still a good bag of fish. Imagine kids going to take a ton of pictures around back. Oh, you won't. All right, skills are good. What are you going to add to it? $15.99. He's like, I don't want to be on the stage right now. We're good. 16, 32, 63. You know what that's going to do? That's going to move you into 4th place. That'll get a check for certain. Good job. Let's see what Ken got. 99, Robert Howard and Miles Lucas. $1,500 for first in the tournament. $1,000 for first in the side pot. You grab one of them, I'll grab one of these. Let's stand right here for the Ken Smith. Emily, where are you? Emily.